The Navy Admirals are the pinnacle of the Navy, which is the main antagonist of pirates in the world of One Piece. I feel that they don't have quite the reputation in the community that they deserve, with many claiming that the Admirals are merely on the level of commanders of the Yonko, despite Oda holding their name in such a high regard and giving the original 3 Admirals the most powerful type of devil fruit in the story. Especially as of recent, I would say the Admirals haven't had the best of showings, but I feel like it's all for a reason, which is what I want to explain today. If you like videos like this, like and subscribe. According to my analytics, about 97% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed to me, so I would definitely appreciate it if you guys did that. The first Admiral I want to talk about is Green Bull, who easily gets the most flack for what happened to him at the end of the Wano arc. Green Bull does get overwhelmed by Shanks' Conqueror's haki, but I feel like there's a bit more context that needs to be added. During the initial meeting between Shanks and Whitebeard, there is a specific statement that Jozu says about Shanks' haki that I find very interesting. In the more accurate translations of pre-Timeskip One Piece, done by the current Viz translator for One Piece, Stephen Paul, we get a better understanding of what Jozu is actually saying. Jozu says, "You cannot maintain consciousness before him unless you're fully prepared for it." This other translation kind of implies that in a more direct confrontation, Shanks wouldn't have Green Bull just bow down to his haki, which I probably would find more grounded in reality than Shanks just no different Green Bull. Green Bull also does say he doesn't want to pick a fight with Shanks' whole crew as opposed to just Shanks, which makes sense considering he already was going to take on the alliance that just defeated Kaido and Big Mom. Now, I'm not saying Green Bull can beat Shanks, because he absolutely can't, just based on everything that we know. Even the fact that Oda put him in a situation like this in the first place tells me that he can't beat Shanks. But I am saying that overall, this was just a bad situation for Green Bull where he didn't get to showcase how strong he really is. Something else I want to say about Green Bull is that Oda had him fight injured King and Queen, while saying an Admiral shouldn't be losing to pirate subordinates. And to me, this is Oda just directly telling us that the Admiral shouldn't be losing to mere subordinates of pirates, at least on the level of King and Queen, which does make sense considering someone like a Kainu during Marineford was literally just fighting almost all of the Whitebeard division commanders and Crocodile all by himself, and he got out of that with no issues or injuries. Green Bull and Fujitora each get slack for what happened on Mary Joas during the Revolutionary Army's raid, despite the bad conditions that they were just put in. Since the Celestial Dragons were on the battlefield and the Admirals were in the land of the gods, they are forced to not use their full power, even though CP0 says when they are using their full power, they can likely wipe Mary Joas off the map. To show how much they are holding back, Fujitora came and used his meteors, which seems to be one of his more casual attacks, considering in Dressrosa, he's like dropping meteors while he's just slurping noodles on like the government ships. When Green Bull is fighting morally, he even complains about the Celestial Dragons being on the battlefield and it makes it hard for him to fight. Looking at Fujitora, he also gets slack for what happened in Dressrosa, but most of the Doflamingo is Admiral level because he blocked Fujitora's kick discourse is long dead, so I don't really feel the need to go over Fujitora holding back for all of Dressrosa, as it seems to be the most comic in senses as of now. Now in Egghead is where I really want to talk about the Admirals, because it's where most of the downplay I feel lies. So with Kuzan, I'm just going to keep it short because I've already talked about it in the Garp video, which you guys should watch by the way. Kuzan is said by Garp to be wavering in this fight, which is a poor mental state which can easily affect Kuzan's combat ability. Things such as Kuzan worrying about Garp's condition after Shiryu stabbed him, or the icy stare he has at the end of the arc show an obvious conflict within Kuzan that could easily be affecting his combat ability. As Rayleigh says to Luffy before the 3D2Y, to never doubt his power, so it seems to be Kuzan is in some capacity held back by these emotions. Even with that, we get to see Kuzan is capable of producing similar sounds to Garp when they punch the battleship bags together, which does show Kuzan has amazing physical strength he developed himself through hard work. Kuzan overall has a decent showing against Garp. They kind of clash to go back and forth, and he's able to take everything Garp dished out on him, and he has no serious injuries by the end of the arc. The current biggest victim of the Admiral slander has to be Kizaru due to how his fight with Luffy ended, despite the context Oda's been giving with the physical plot and the overarching themes of this entire arc. To start, as Oda usually does with the Admirals, he gives Kizaru some stipulations in order to keep him in check, which in this case is to 1. Preserve the power plant on the island because it powers the mother frame, make sure York is safe, and to preserve the Punk record brain so they have all of the information and knowledge Vegapunk has. Meaning Kizaru can't cause mass destruction with his abilities. Kizaru himself says it's hard for him to attack his old acquaintance Bonnie. Meanwhile, we know Kizaru has known people for like Sentomaru and Vegapunk much longer than her. He even says later that doing this assassination of Vegapunk isn't even easy for him. Kizaru seems to be having conflicted feelings similar to how Kuzan did, which is obviously intentional on Oda's part. If you look at the beginning of this arc, one of the first things we hear Vegapunk, or in this case Lilith, say is, why isn't it possible to control the urges of living creatures? Kizaru in his introduction of this arc described himself as a cog in the machine, which is obviously set up for him to be proven wrong later in the arc, as he has his own motivations and relationships that are going to affect him when he's out doing missions. A similar thing is actually displayed through Kuma, who's at the forefront of this arc. He gave up everything for Bonnie and was turned into a mindless living weapon, and yet he climbs the red line and was trying to destroy Mary Joas. It seems even the mindless invincible slave Kuma has some of his old human will left within him. Even Kuzan, who's a Blackbeard pirate now and has to see that role to the very end, has his own desires and feelings about Garp, which I feel also play into this whole theme about desires. This arc literally starts with our protagonist Luffy telling the rest of his crewmates his real dream or desire in life. There's a bunch of this type of stuff littered throughout the arc for its themes, like the ultimate traitor of the main characters being the greed or desire Vegapunk, York, S-Snake still having Boa Hancock's feelings for Luffy, or Delphrus literally just being theorized to be dreams incarnate. Dreams or desire is a major theme of the Egghead Island arc, and it's being shown through characters like Kuzan and Kizaru. Back to Kizaru, it's obvious he isn't all the way willing to kill Vegapunk, especially when he misses his laser shot against Vegapunk's tank, when in Marineford his aim is so good that he can snipe a tiny key from far away. It just seems really weird that Kizaru would miss this shot, but he's able to hit some key, some obscure spot as everybody's falling. Kizaru overall has a lot of feelings that are holding him back from doing his mission as Saturn ordered him to. The part that got Kizaru the most slander was definitely Luffy hitting him with a Gum Gum Star Gun, which sends Kizaru packing and drops him in one shot. Now, the thing that's ignored is that Luffy is also incapacitated after this just due to overexerting himself with a muscled up Advanced Conqueror's attack, which by the way seems to be one of his better attacks we've ever seen him use in Gear 5. The fight seems to be done in order for it to be a stalemate and not for there to be a clear winner, and being honest, it wasn't really a fight in the conventional sense. Kizaru was just trying to get past Luffy in order to kill Vegapunk, and Luffy was just trying to stall him, and neither explicitly wanted to defeat the other, so it led into a kind of gimmicky fight where they like hit and run with each other. And while I do believe Luffy is probably the stronger of the two, based off Egghead being a direct arc continuing the feelings Luffy had from Sabaody, and Luffy wanting to be stronger than Kuma, Sentomaru, and Kizaru, I wouldn't hold the action in this arc against Kizaru, because I believe there's a reason Oda has for the Admirals always being in these unfortunate positions. He's always having them be held back in some sort of way, like them being unable to destroy the island during Marineford, or Fujitora has his own character about how he feels about the world government, so he can't go all out and dress Rosa. Or Kizaru has to protect all these important things on Egghead, and he has his own like feelings about the matter. There's gonna be a time where we'll get to see the full power of the Admirals, and I think Oda was showing a little bit of that to us when we saw Punk Hazard and Akainu and Aokiji like permanently change both sides of the island. So I do want to say, overall, in defense of the Admirals, don't put too much fault on them, because there is a reason why they're always being held back, and they are top tiers, and they're going to have good showings later in the story, so just be ready for that in the future. That's basically what this video is about. So yeah, if you enjoyed that, again, like and subscribe, and yeah, I'm signing off.